Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. It is July 9th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, sorry I haven't been with all of you and doing any live streams over the last couple of days. It was July 5th. I was unloading some bird food, bird seed from the trunk of my car, a 60-pound bag for my bird sanctuary here out at my property. And I went to throw the bag of bird seed up on my shoulder, and I've done it, oh my, Lord knows how many times, but it just happened this time. The damn food shifted, and it jerked me backwards a little bit, but it was just enough for me to strain two lower back muscles. And let me tell you, when I woke up the next day, wow, I really felt it. And it's just, in aggravating pain for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Went to the chiropractor on Monday, and he said, well, there's not much I could do for you. And I'm like, well, what the hell am I paying you for? But anyways, I went to my orthopedic doctor, and he gave me some prednisone, and that is the worst drug that you can put me on, because the last time I was on prednisone, oh Lord, that was back in 2008 when I tore a rotator cuff in my left shoulder and had surgery. And prior to the surgery, they put me on that prednisone, and they make you take like 7 pills one day, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I didn't make it through the third day because that drug makes me crazy. It makes my temper real bad. I don't know what is up with that drug. But yeah, after the third day, I decided to go down to my local Taco Bell. And I could tell my temperament wasn't too good. And as I went through the drive-thru, they screwed my order up. And as soon as I pulled out of the drive-thru, I checked my order, and it was wrong. So I went absolutely ballistic on the prednisone and walked back into the Taco Bell and dumped out all my tacos on the counter, had some words with the employees, crushed up all of my tacos and started throwing them in my burrito. Oh, I just went absolutely, crazy. So I told my doctor the other day, I'm like, look, you're going to get me thrown in jail giving me this prednisone. But I only took it for 2 days. I'm feeling a lot better. To tell you the truth, I couldn't sit at my desk chair here in my office for more than I would say 15 minutes, and the muscle spasms in my lower back, wow, they were so intense. And I literally slept on the floor in my office for 2 days, slept on the sofa, couldn't get comfortable. I tried everything. And I said, to hell with all the medications. I went straight to a very intense vitamin uptake. I take this new Genix, and it boosts the nitric acid in your bloodstream, and bingo, that was it. 24 hours later, I felt like new again. I still have a little bit of spasming going on, but no big deal. But that's the price you pay when you love nature. And these birds, my little bird sanctuary out here, wow, I must have a couple of hundred of these damn birds. They go through 60 pounds of bird feed every single week. But, speaking of nature, folks, our Earth is literally under siege right now. And over the last couple of days, I've had the opportunity to listen to a lot of what people are saying on social media and, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And, everybody wants to try and give me advice, and I'll listen to the majority of what people have to say. When people start telling me that I need to start watching this person and I need to start watching that person. I already know who the majority of the players are across social media, especially YouTube and Facebook. A lot of these people over the years have learned from me, and they have actually gone off, I don't know, on their own ways. And I'll be quite honest with you, a lot of these people aren't really telling the truth. They're just kind of sensationalizing things that they really don't know a lot about. Now, if a lot of you don't know a lot about me, well, look, I've been following the Planet X information since I was in my last year of college in 1991. A professor of mine actually mentioned it in one of my theology classes, and we got into the information, and we actually became friends. He was a retired FBI profiler and a professor. He taught me a lot. And over the years, I tried to pick up as much data as I could, but then there was a long period of time, almost 10 years, and there really wasn't that much out there about this Planet X object. They basically kind of silenced it. And in 2005, I started noticing all of this chemtrailing. And I'm not afraid to use the word on my YouTube channel. See, there's a few other YouTube channels out there. They don't even like to use the word because they're afraid that YouTube is going to censor them and take away their dollars. Well, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care about YouTube views. I don't care about subscriber counts. I don't care about anything like that. I do get pissed off because my YouTube channel started getting heavily censored at the end of 2017, and that censoring has continued. Now, I want to show you guys something. And, I bang heads with YouTube and Facebook almost on a weekly basis. Let me grab this. I got some paperwork here. About a month ago. There's a date. Yeah, just about a month ago. June 8th. Was that a damn 8? Yeah, that's an 8. June 8th. Once again, these ridiculous people on YouTube, they like to try to shoot copyright strikes at your videos, even if it's your own face, your own voice, nothing else being used, no other videos, nothing. And they try to take your YouTube channel down. And with YouTube, 3 strikes, you're out. Well, I've gone back and forth with YouTube on this subject matter since 2017. I've never lost a copyright strike against my YouTube channel. I was pre-law in college. In my career, I dealt with copyright infringement law for 22 years. So whenever somebody tries to pull that shit on me, I write my own briefs and I write my own counterclaim against whomever is trying to falsely send in a claim against my YouTube channel. And I win every one of them. YouTube's kind of slow at the process, maybe takes 10 days. I have a direct email address where I send my counterclaim in. It's written in a professional legal brief, so on and so forth. But I've been on YouTube's back constantly to change their policy, change their format. Well, lo and behold, I hooked up with a real copyright lawyer, and he has a lot of clients from YouTube. And I was complaining to him about this process, and I said, look, I'm going to pay you to write a professional letter, and let's outline some things for the boob tube, and let's see if they pay attention to this copyright crap on the boob tube. And sure enough, we completed that and we sent it out, and he mailed it, certified mail, directly to their headquarters. And they replied. Oh boy, did they reply. And they sent me a letter. They sent the registered letter back to my attorney. And lo and behold, I follow YouTube on Twitter. Well, check it out. They're making these changes, and they're rolling these changes out almost immediately, I guess because of all of the complaints that they're getting about this process. There is a huge threat on social media pertaining to the truth. See, anybody could put whatever they want up on social media, whether it's dealing with earthquakes, storms, solar activity, whatever. But as soon as you start touching nerves with their moderators, because Facebook is known for this. I mean, I can't stand Facebook, but I have to use Facebook to reach the world. Last year, Facebook suspended my Facebook pages 4 times for 30 days each time for complete nonsense. Okay? There's no way to fight Facebook like you can with YouTube. Facebook's a private company. They can do what they want. So I investigated Facebook extensively, and I come to find out that the people that are in charge of these suspensions are moderators. Yeah, moderators in foreign countries. Yeah, some of them, some of them is hard to believe, but some of them are in African countries. Some of them are in the Middle East. Some of them are in India. Some of them are in Indonesia. What the hell? You know, nothing against these people, but who are these people? And if you have an organizational page or a group page like we do now, and you start making some head waves, you start expanding very quickly, they assign you to a moderator or a group of moderators. And they watch every little thing that you post. Yeah. It's really not an algorithm. It is real live human beings. And they have a notebook, a binder with all of these rules. And man, they are trying to catch you doing anything wrong. Okay? Anything. Race, color, religion, sexual orientation, blah, 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 whatever. So they're really ripping at the cords of free speech. But when you're in an African country or a Middle Eastern country or Indonesia or wherever these moderators are, our free speech here in the United States of America doesn't mean squat. They don't care. You can appeal. If your page gets suspended, you can appeal it. Usually takes them several days to get back to you. And at that point in time, somebody else is supposedly able to look at the appeal and they'll get back to you. They'll either give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, release your page, or keep it suspended. Well, that's one platform. I've only succeeded in getting one appeal from Facebook and winning that appeal. So if these moderators just don't like what you're doing, maybe they have other political views, whatever their views are, they can actually let those personal views get in the way of doing their job. And, I had to go head to head with Facebook over the last couple of days. I'm still bashing their heads in as we speak because out of nowhere, I was posting my information on the earthquakes in California. And I had a post up, and it was right before the earthquakes started to occur. I was warning everybody that this was about to happen. I have a copy of the original post. And the very next day, we had the 7.1 in California. I started to post data that I had coming in, and bingo. I walked away from my computer for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I came back, and I was going to post a short informational video for our group page and the Planet X News organizational page, my public figure page, my personal page, blah, blah, blah. I also run a national, international news website and Facebook page. And I run my local news for the last 10 years here in the Pittsburgh area, right on Facebook and another news website. So I'm very, very busy in the course of my 14-hour day. Well, as soon as I jumped back on and I was going to post this information, bingo, here comes this, oh, your Facebook page is suspended. I'm like, WTF. What for? Well, they didn't give me any reason. Usually they tell you, oh, you violated a community standard, oh, you did this, you did that. Nothing. Nothing at all. So, I went into the messaging and I looked and I'm like, what the hell is this? No appeal button, no way to appeal, no way to get back in touch with Facebook. So, contacted my attorney. I'm like, look, man, I need to get this thing settled. I do have a backup. That's one way I can circumvent what they've done. And we did overnight a letter directly to Menlo Park, face puke, and they actually responded. We gave them an email address. They actually responded, and they said the reason why my main page, which is attached to all of my accounts, was suspended for 30 days was for violating spam. Spam? I don't spam nothing. Nothing. I share my articles from my website, my videos from my YouTube channel, and my own posts. And I share those only on my pages. MFA Media Group, Planet X News, my public figure page, and my personal page. And the group page. That's it. That is not the definition of spam. It's not. Look it up. So we're going to go back and forth. They still have my main account with Facebook suspended because of that reason. And my lawyer said to me, he's like, look, Scott, I see this problem. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse with Facebook. I don't think there's anything that we're going to be able to do. You're just going to have to wait the suspension out. I'm like, all right, that's no problem. I don't have a problem with that. But there are people out there, like all of you, that rely on this information, especially when we're getting down to things on our planet that are getting very, very serious. Let's use another word, getting very, very dangerous. If any of you missed my last couple of live streams, I've been warning everybody about this uptick that was going to occur through July, August, September, October, November. Things should kind of calm down in November, but anything can happen. So this all has to do with our orbit, the Earth's orbit around the sun, and the orbit of Planet X, which is a very eccentric elliptical orbit around the sun. It only takes 28 days for this object. Well, there's actually 3. One larger one, 2 smaller ones, but the 2 smaller ones are pretty large. They're a lot larger than our planet Earth. I've come up with some additional information if you watch those other live streams about the magnetic fields of these objects and the possibility of the main Planet X object having a very, very strong magnetic cloud, interstellar cloud around it. And as I stated in those other live streams, the Earth can be affected very seriously by coming in contact with other magnetic fields. You already see what the sun's magnetic field does to the Earth's magnetopause. A lot of you have been posting the information from the ISWA websites showing the magnetopause, magnetosphere, and the solar wind. But do you really understand the science behind all of that? Yeah, I know a lot of people listen to me, they watch my videos, and they kind of copy what I say, and they think that they're learning, but in actuality, there's a lot to learn. I've been studying all of this for more than 20 years. 20 years. You're really not going to learn it overnight or from a few YouTube videos that you may watch from others, because, folks, those others, they may be getting it wrong. And then all you're doing is you're passing down the line that wrong data. And, I mean, there's nothing I could do about that. You know, I'm not saying I'm the only one on social media that knows what I'm talking about, but I'm going to be quite honest with all of you folks. There's not a lot of us out there. There's not a lot of us out there that have my background, that have Dutch Senses background or BP Earthwatch. Mr. MB, very, very smart guy. And there are very few people on YouTube that I respect in this matter, because I see a lot of garbage constantly. And we don't have time for garbage. We don't have time for sensationalism. And it's a shame that some people have to sensationalize these things and put out wrong information because they want views on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. We're not going to be able to get away from that. But you have to be able to ascertain what is truth and what is just plain damn bullshit. I had somebody inbox me yesterday and told me that if I want to know the truth and I want to learn something, then I should start following Mark Elkin on Facebook. I laughed so hard, spit my Red Bull all over my damn computer screen, had to clean it all up, because this guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And in 2016, he started following me, and he's learned everything from me. And, not to talk bad about the guy, but I will, he sensationalizes a lot of things that don't make sense. The whole pole shift, the Earth flipping over, not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen in our lifetime. You have to understand what it really, really takes for a crustal pole shift. All of that got started from Nancy Lieder with the whole Nibiru mythology. And some of her crazy videos, and showing the Earth tilting and Nemesis is going to come in and grab a hold of the North Pole and turn it. No. Folks, look, trust me. If anything like that was going to happen or could possibly happen, I would be the first person to tell all of you. But here we go with the sensationalism. I started writing books with Dr. Albers. What did this guy do? Oh, I'm coming out with my book. So people have been copying me. They steal my videos. I just got wind just before I went on the air about another situation. People impersonating me, my YouTube channel. I got to take care of that. I'm going to have to go bust somebody up. Whatever. But I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I watch the data constantly every single day. In my office here, I have 5 computers going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's pretty much nothing that I miss. On top of all of that, I have other avenues where I do get information, credible information, based on the science. So we do have to look at the whole scientific part of a lot of things to understand it. A lot of you may not be science buffs, but, I've always been a science buff. And I was always fascinated with Earth-space science. And I've kept up with it my entire life. Earthquakes, I've been studying earthquakes and seismic activity for 15 years. Solar activity, same thing, more than 15 years. I understand all of these things. There are some days where I think to myself, wow, you have an incredible mind. You must be like seriously enlightened. I'm like talking to myself. Because sometimes I don't know where these thoughts come from. They literally just pop into my head and I completely understand something, or I foresee it. And it's kind of weird. I've been like that almost all my life, going back to about the time I was about 16 years old. Not saying I'm some kind of clairvoyant or ESP or whatever. I call it enlightenment, being an intuitive, having that ultra sense of intuition. So, I don't allow anybody to school me. People have tried. They've been very unsuccessful. It's not going to happen. I had another lady inbox me and tell me that I should start paying close attention once again to Gil Broussard's information. I've already gone over all of that with you folks. I've had many conversations with Gil, did a live stream with him back in, early January 2017 possibly. Had conversations with him. He uses a lot of biblical prophecy, past biblical data. Doesn't match up with what's currently happening. Doesn't match up with the observational evidence that I've shown all of you over the past 3 years. That's why he kind of disappeared for about a year. Now he's resurfaced with new dates, new dates that he says this thing's going to come around and it's going to be at perihelion or whatever. None of that shit makes any sense because we have the observational evidence. We have shown you, well, all of you that have seen my past live streams and videos, that this object is here. These objects are here to stay. The sun's gravitational pull has captured them. They've been rotating in closer and closer and closer as far back as I got the evidence back to 2007. So if I'm able to capture these objects continuously during this 28-day orbit, how in the hell is Gil Broussard's theories from biblical prophecy correct? You understand? How is anything that Marshall Masters says about, the 3,600-year orbit, Zachariah Sitchin this, that's all malarkey. It's all super ancient data from 20 years ago. But we're not living 20 years ago in the past. We're living here in the future. The present going into the future. So relying on old data from old timers that thought they knew what was up, I don't know about you guys, but I don't waste my time with it. I've been down that road. I have investigated all of it and all of the people putting that information out. So you have to go to the source. You have to look at the man or the woman who's putting that data out there, putting that information out there. What do they know? What is their background? Do they really know what they're talking about? Nah, you know. But hey, listen, everybody's free to watch what they want. But please don't tell me that I should be following the likes of Gil Broussard, Marshall Masters, or Mark Elkin, or anybody else. Because they're all learning from me. And they have been for quite a while. I used to be friends with Marshall Masters. I'm not anymore because I kind of saw and read between the lines when, you want to go and you want to show, lens flares and internal camera artifact anomalies to people and tell them, hey, look, up in the sky, it's the second sun, when it's nothing more than a ghosted image. Yeah. Let me open up this live chat here, see if any of you are talking crap on me. Better not be. Anyways, let me get a sip of my Red Bull. We'll fire off some data. Yeah, so I've been fired up the last couple of days. And that's that. Now, let me show you this quick thing from YouTube. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. I'm going to shrink my face a little bit. And we'll pull up this. Where the hell is it? I got so much going on here. And this was the tweet from the YouTube team on Twitter. And this was what I was referring to earlier about the copyright issues. What the hell is this? All right. And this was their tweet. So apparently, me and my attorney struck a nerve, and I hope it was in their funny bone, and I hope it hurt real bad. But here you go. Lots to come with copyright. Today we're starting a few new changes. Manual claims now require timestamps showing exactly what is the claim, improved editing tools, blah, blah, blah. Then down at the bottom, it tells you all about this. And it tells you at the very, very bottom, copyright owners who repeatedly fail to provide accurate data for timestamps will have their access to manual claiming revoked by sucker. Yeah. So for all you little tiddlywinks out there that like to pull this garbage, your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, real quick. Doobie doobie doo 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 doo. For all of you that have missed my past live streams going back into the early spring, I mentioned that our hurricane season, I think, was going to be very, very active in the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Atlantic. Now, don't misconstrue my words. Don't twist them. I'm not saying that we're not going to have any hurricane possibilities in the Atlantic, but from what I was analyzing with the jet stream, because, again, I've been an avid weather watcher for more than 20 years. I love weather. I could probably be a damn meteorologist. But anyways, what I was seeing, what was transpiring back in the spring and already through the month of June, I started to see that our big activity will probably start heavy in the Gulf of Mexico. Why? Because the waters were warmer. Why? Because the jet stream, the airflow, it was all of these storms just above the equator. Sooner or later, the jet stream is going to drag them and bring them straight across Mexico or up from the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico, where those waters are so warm, bingo, that's it. Throw in a high pressure and a low pressure above, and it's going to suck these storms right up into either Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, panhandle of Florida, and then soon up into Tennessee, Georgia, the Carolinas. Hell, one of these storms could get sucked up all the way into my neck of the woods here in Pittsburgh, like it did way back during, I think it was Hurricane Ivan. Weather, still one of the main enemies here in the United States and around the world. Okay, I've got some really good video that came in just over the past few hours of what happened in Spain and Portugal. Oh my God! Roadways turned into raging rivers. Total destruction. I mean, this is going on all over the world, folks. Washington, D.C. yesterday. Yeah! Flush out the swamp. They got a month's worth of rain in 1 hour. Yeah. Wash out those scummy politicians, man. Drown them all. Woo! Yeah, so I'm sure all of you saw that. Parts of Washington, D.C., underwater. That was good. I was glad to see that. So this Invest 92, this is going to turn into a nightmare for people in Louisiana, possibly Alabama, Mississippi. It all depends. Right now, a lot of the models are kind of out of whack. They don't know which way it's going to go. I have a definite feeling that this is going to pounce on the coastal regions of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, panhandle of Florida. So I was just, inboxing messages with a few other people that live down in these areas. And I'm like, look, okay, don't play around. This is coming. It's very erratic. And the downpours of rain are going to be substantial. So please, have a preparedness plan. Something. Don't just sit there and let yourself be inundated with floodwaters, especially in these states that have already been saturated from this early spring, late spring, early summer. But let's jump over to the next clip. Come on. I use my mouse so much, it's a brand new mouse. It's like a year old. I've actually worn it out. It tells you how much clicking I do. But this is going to be some of the rain totals. This is from the Euro model. Not looking too good. You can see there, Houston's going to get a little bit, but New Orleans, and we all know about New Orleans, they're kind of down in a little teacup there. They're going to get blasted with approximately 18 to 24 inches of rain, 12 to 18, 8 to 12. I mean, you could see it on your screen. And the further north you go, up into Arkansas and over there in Alabama, Mississippi. And this is like for the next 7 days. So this storm is pretty creepy. It's pretty weird because it should be coming up from the Gulf, but it's not. It's actually formed somewhat over land. It's going to be pushed out over the water, and it's going to suck up all that warm water in the Gulf. So, folks, you live anywhere, anywhere in the South, and I mean anywhere. South Carolina, North Carolina. I mean, this can get sucked up by the jet stream and pulled all the way up the eastern seaboard through all of the southern states and into the Northeast. We'll see. The models are all over the place. Even meteorologists are very confused about where it's going to go, what the timeline is going to be. We see these situations arise and people get stuck and they lose their lives. That's something that I would like to prevent. And this isn't going to turn into a hurricane, but you never know. Our globe is so screwed up right now from what's happening out in space, what's happening with our sun. Anything is possible. So heed the warnings. Look out for it. I'll be posting as much information as I possibly can. And this is rainfall outlook through the late week. You could see the color-coded graph at the upper right. Shows you the inches based on color. Wow. I mean, just in the middle where it's orange, you're looking at 5 to 8 inches. Okay, now this is as it's forming. So the last pic that I showed you is after it is completely formed and starts to move backwards into the shoreline. What is this showing up? Oh boy. YouTube sending me advertisements on my cell phone. So this is where we're at, and you can see the stretch of how wide of a swath of rain, 1 inch, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, Atlanta, Hatteras, Myrtle Beach, Jacksonville, Florida, Tallahassee. I got 2 kids in college at Florida State University in Tallahassee. I've already put the warnings out to them. If anything starts to transpire, they better, they know the routine. Look who their father is. They know the routine. They know what to do. They know where and when to be safe. And this may be one of those possibilities where there's not too many places to run and hide with a storm this wide and that potential spread of precipitation. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what it actually looks like on the actual GOES 16. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Yeah, we'll get that up there. Have that. Let me just set this up real quick here, folks. We'll get the data pouring in. And that will start to load. Now, you can see you can see the intensity start to boil. This is in live time. This is from the GOES 16 satellite. And as soon as those storm cells, you can see how they're partially out over the warm waters of the Gulf. And then they start to expand. Where did we see situations like this with this type of supercell expansion? Hey, remember all of the tornadoes that we just had last month in May and June out west? All of those torrential rains that flooded our food supply in the Midwest, put numerous towns and cities underwater. Same thing's happening now. But just like I said, folks, things would start to shift. Once we got out of the month of June, the jet stream did make a substantial change. But that change was good for some parts of the country, but now it's going to be a nightmare for the other parts of the country. This may bring drought-type conditions to the west and dry out conditions in the center part of the United States, but it's going to bring all of that heavy downfall of rain to the east. So you cut the United States into thirds. And now the East Coast, or this third of the country, is going to get hammered, especially the South, because they have all of this warm water in the Gulf. And ocean temperatures, folks, ocean temperatures are very, very warm. Coastal temperatures around the state of Florida, down in the Caribbean, all down there around Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, Gulf of Mexico. Water temperatures are very, very warm. That is the perfect catalyst for all of these types of storms. Now, here's the thing. This isn't like, our weather isn't like it was last year or even the year before that. Now we're dealing with totally different monsters of weather. We've seen the massive downpours. We've seen the flooding. It's happening worldwide. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Our atmosphere is heavily charged. We see this massive amounts of crazy lightning all around the world. People are getting killed, struck by this lightning. I just have a video coming out of Boston, Massachusetts, I think it was. A guy was trying to catch a storm cell coming in at a marina. He's videotaping with his cell phone, and the next thing you know, a huge bolt of lightning comes down, hits the main pole staff on a sailboat, hits it, boom! Right there on camera, man. Lights up the whole sailboat. Totally engulfed in flames. So be leery, man. When they say that, when you watch your weather and they say there's a potential for lightning and that lightning's, 50 miles away and you don't think any of it, wrong. Lightning can travel hundreds of miles across the sky and strike you dead where it's relatively clear. It's happened before. I know a man, when I lived in Miami, my father's secretary, her husband was struck in the top of the head by a bolt of lightning on Miami Beach that came all the way up near Fort Lauderdale. So that was just about 25, 30 miles. Hit him right on the top of the head, blew him 50 feet into the water. A lifeguard saved him, but he was never right after that. He was... The lightning bolt hit him in the top of the head, came out of his groin area, and he was stiff. He wasn't, you weren't able to bend his arms or legs at the joints. He was completely stiff. And I think at the time he was like 60 years old. I don't know how the man lived through it. But, he was stiff as a board for the rest of his life, and his wife had to wheel him around on an appliance dolly, that you strap a refrigerator to, because you couldn't bend him. We just saw several people killed and injured by lightning strikes over the last couple of weeks. So heed those warnings. Get a weather app for your cell phone. Set it up with your zip code, GPS, whatever, so you are at least aware of your surroundings. And with these storms like this, folks, don't mess around. We've already seen all the flooding accidents, people trying to drive through flooded roads, and what happens? 6, 7, 8 inches of water, their car starts floating like a little boat. Your car can easily be tipped over. It could be lodged against something else, like another car. You're upside down. Now you can't get out. Then what happens? You drowned. You meet your maker. So this is what's happening. This is what we're looking at. And this is what I was referring to. All of these storms popping down here. And you could see way, way over here in the Pacific, way, way out west, and we could actually get over there from another view. You could see how intense those storms are. I'll bring it in for you so you can see it a little bit. But those storms are huge. Look at that. Could you imagine being out in the ocean on a boat? Nah, not for me. So this is where the potential for Gulf of Mexico storms will come from. They will have a tendency, let me get my little drawing tool out here. They will have a tendency to come straight up through here into the Gulf. And they can come from anywhere. They can start down here by Central America. These storms could easily loop back up and start heading in these directions. It all depends on the jet stream. And the jet stream is whacked. It's completely out of control. It is going to stay that way, I would have to say, for the rest of our lives. I mean, we're not going to see any changes, folks. We're actually going to see things intensify. They are going to get worse as time goes on, month after month, year after year, while we deal with this solar minimum and the interaction with the sun and these Planet X objects that so many people still want to deny, no matter how much observational evidence you put in front of their face. They still deny it. So they're cuckoo. We can even have storm systems like you see right here. These could easily loop around, come through Mexico. They can skirt Texas. They can move up through Texas. But the majority, they'll move in this direction. So the potential for these storms during this time of year, going through July and August, we can see these storms potentially pulling up across southern Mexico and straight into the Gulf. So that's what I was referring to in my other live stream, where I said we could see 3 landfalls. Storms can turn into hurricanes very rapidly in the South Pacific, near Mexico, on the west coast of Mexico, pull across land, head into the Gulf of Mexico, hit land again, and hit land again into the United States. So you could easily have 3 landfalls on a hurricane, 1, 2, 3. As we get into, oops, let me get rid of that line. As we get into the latter parts of summer, you can see way over here the coast of Africa. That's where these storm systems start to brew because of the temperatures. They get out over that warmer water right off the coast of Africa, and bingo, things start to stir. So possibly through August, September, October. Remember, hurricane season doesn't end till November 1st. We could possibly see storm systems rolling out through all of November. But these storm systems will come, and we've all seen them. They'll all wrap around. It all depends on what they want to do. They could even come right up through here into the Gulf of Mexico, and we've seen them blast right into the shore here. So it all depends. We're not that far down the road yet, but we do have to worry about what is going on in the Gulf of Mexico right now, because there will be tens of millions of people at risk within the next couple of days if this storm system continues to envelop into a higher level tropical storm. It's not going to hit hurricane status, but there's enough water to create massive amounts of precipitation, downpours like you've never seen. We've already seen all of the hailstone pictures and videos. Oh my God. We used to think of hailstones as tiny little pellet size or, marble size. You don't see those no more, man. They're freaking baseball size now. Yeah. enough to hit you in the head at 120 miles an hour and kill you, split your head wide open, knock you unconscious. That's happening all around the world. But anyways, we're going to jump out of the goes. So you guys see what's happening with this Invest 92, something that we're going to have to watch and keep a very, very close eye on for all of the people up in the Panhandle. You guys keep a very, very close watch on this because it is nothing. It's nothing to mess around with at all. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of space weather here. I'm not going to drag this on too much longer as far as the space weather goes. But listen, folks, we are being pounded by a solar wind and a very, very serious influx of cosmic rays on top of the interaction of multiple magnetic fields. Now, the satellites that detect this solar wind, the ACE data was not equipped to distinguish between cosmic rays and solar wind. So, if you watched my last live stream and the one before that, I was letting you all know that there's no solar wind that was blowing at those times, as they say, but it's really not a wind, it's just a heavy stream of charged particles spewing from the sun, impacting our magnetopause. These satellites, they can't detect they can detect, but they can't distinguish between the cosmic rays pounding the magnetopause or solar wind. So when we know that there's no solar wind from any coronal holes or a very, very light stream, we see our magnetopause reacting in very violent ways with very serious compressions. We're looking at severe interactions with another magnetic field or two or three, the sun, planet X, interstellar cloud. Bingo. Now we have been in a stream for the last couple of days from coronal hole openings, and as you can see, the fluctuations on the that was the 8th. I'm going back in time to the 7th. You can see that these compressions are very, very severe. When you see things like this, those heavily charged particles literally blast right through the magnetopause. They penetrate all the way into the earth through you and everything. They get all the way down there into the mantle. And those heavily charged particles bouncing off of each other, exploding, creating heat and expansion. Pow! What do we have? Explosive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. That's the science. Now, we do have normal plate tectonic movements. We do have normal seismic activity. But folks, over the last 3 years, it has been anything but that. It's been completely abnormal. Why? There has to be an answer. But see, nobody's giving you the real answer. They're giving you bits and pieces of what they know or what they think they know. But they can't give you a definitive answer because they're not putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together in order to explain what is happening to this planet. That's why people like me, they want to shut us up. Why? Because all of you are learning. All of you are literally becoming hardcore truthers. The awakening is happening around the world. But they don't want you awake. They want you to go to sleep. And they want you to stay that way. But we ain't going to have that. Not on my damn watch. So that's another reason why I get hammered with this censoring and they try to take me out left and right. But it ain't going to work. Look, I keep telling you guys, Subscribe to my private network. The link's in the description box. I post all of this same information there on a daily basis. Something occurs where they do take me out completely. They're not going to be able to touch me on my private network. So I will still be able to upload videos. I won't be able to do a live stream, but I have backup channels and stuff like that. But who knows what they're going to do? Subscribe to that. You get an email notification from it. When you come home from work or whatever, you log in. You could view all the information in your privacy. It's not like social media. You can't sit there and interact and inbox people, but all the information's there. It's very, very well put together. We have a lot of people that have already subscribed over the last couple of months, and they like it. They like, damn, this is perfect. I could come home, I could pull up the site, I could read the information, I could play the videos, I could read, I could look at the articles. I'm good. They like it. So when you guys get time, check it out. But that's what's happening with our magnetopause, and we're getting crushed left and right. I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to show you guys something here real quick. A couple days ago, I was working on this new technique to show all of you what is underneath the sun's atmosphere, the outer corona. All of those little sparkly areas that you see on your screen right now, that is where that solar wind and those heavily charged particles are spewing out of. Now, I had some joker because I uploaded a few of these videos as I created them in our new Planet X News group. Yeah, we've had a few people try to infiltrate like trolls. And they're like, oh, you're not showing anything special. You're just showing us the SDO. No, wrong. If you go pull the SDO up and you take a look at it, you're not going to see what I'm showing you. Okay? You're not going to be able to see the defined particles zipping from all of those coronal holes. You're not going to see any of that. I've developed a technique to bring all of that out right at you, and you can see it for yourself right there. So, anybody wants to challenge me on that? Let's do it, because you'll be proven wrong. I developed this technique about, a little over a week ago. And you can see all of these areas. This is right where my cursor is. Right where my cursor is where the Earth is. And you can see all of these areas where you see all of those little sparkles. That's where the coronal wind, or the solar wind, is spewing out. Those are all super heavily charged particles and gases, plasma, just whipping through space, heading right to the Earth. It impacts the Earth. It impacts our magnetopause. That's why now you're seeing all of those fluctuations. You're seeing a lot of crazy things happening with that magnetic field of the Earth, because not only is it getting pelted by the solar wind, it has interactions from other magnetic fields and the cosmic rays. The cosmic rays, very high potential to be dangerous. And the earthquake situation in California, folks, it ain't over. It ain't over by far. I'm telling you that right now. I can see the USGS is kind of downplaying it a little bit. But if any of you saw the press conference that I shared in the Facebook group, LA County, Los Angeles, they had a freaking press conference, big press conference, for preparedness. Yeah. And that's 150 miles away. So the situation out there in Ridgecrest, out there in the desert, it ain't getting any better. I've got a lot of photographs, a lot of data on this earthquake. This is one of your main causes, folks, what you're seeing right here. It's not going to go away. It's not going to get any better. But that's the truth. You know how my saying goes, I don't sugarcoat shit and call it candy. It is what it is. So it's time for all of you guys to continue your awakening. And as long as you are in that process, you now have that obligation to bring other people up to speed. No matter how hard it is, no matter if people call you crazy, or you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're a mother effer, or you're this, or you're that. When the shit hits the fan, folks, you'll be the first one they come to for information. What you do at that point in time with them, that's on you. You know, I'm a nice guy. I'll still help you out. But when you turn around, I am going to kick you in your ass for doubting me. But anyways, let's break out of here. That is the newest update for these coronal holes that have splattered through the Earth-facing part of the sun. We had a very, very small, teeny tiny little micro burst that came from the sun. Very teeny tiny little CME. Nothing to write home about. I created this video from HelioViewer. You'll see it right there, and I'll let the video play over again. Way down in the corner, about the 7 o'clock position on the sun, Earth facing. It didn't even register on any of the instruments for like 48 hours. And it was no harm to the Earth. Nothing really came out of it. I did see a few people that made somewhat of a big deal out of it, but in all actuality, it was nothing. But just to show you, and it did have a little bit of flaring. You could see a little bit of an X pattern form there, a little bit of an X flare, but it was so minor, almost not even worth talking about. Now, if that was a little bit higher towards the equator, a little bit further west on the sun, and a little more powerful, then you would have heard from me whether my back was bothering me or not. But, you know, it's interesting to watch, interesting to learn. And you could barely see that little bit of a ribbed X. It's hard for me to stop it during the video because it's I had to zoom in so much. I might be able to do it. Let me see. There you go. You'll see a little bit of an X right there. And you see the little ribs, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why they call it an X flare. Blasts out a whole boatload of photons. And these X flares are very, very dangerous. Over the last couple of years, we've had some pretty substantial ones. A couple that have been off the chart. Luckily, they weren't completely Earth-facing. And that will burn up electrical grids around the world. That will harm the GPS satellites, the cell phone satellites, all those satellites in space that we depend on. It will fry them. And yeah, you'll be in the dark. But we haven't gotten there yet. Let's get back to that earthquake stuff. This is the desert out there. You see these little red arrows? That's showing you the massive fracture that occurred out there in the desert. These are satellite images before and after. I mentioned this the other day, right after that 7.1 hit. I was getting intel that was coming in, and it was saying that large portions of the desert floor cracked wide open, fissures. That is not good. But that is something that occurs when you have very, 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 very shallow earthquakes near the surface. The ground will split open. The ground will fracture. That's why these surface earthquakes, they are more deadly. The surface earthquakes like this, they cause the most damage to buildings, facilities, things like that, roadways. And we've seen a bunch of roadways throughout this area that have buckled, broken apart, things like that. But this was pretty substantial. And there's still, geologists are still out there investigating, because this is a massive, massive area that they have to try to cover. And I did get word that they are out there planting more seismic devices. They have to stick them in the ground. They have to put up a solar panel to keep the battery recharged so it could send the GPS data up to the satellite and then back to their office. That's how those devices work. I actually have a picture of a guy setting one up. But this crack went all the way across the desert, very, very far. I believe at some points it was 100 feet wide and approximately 20 feet deep, visualizing the depth. Interesting. Very, very interesting, I have to say. Now, I want to jump back. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I had these videos all mixed up. I wanted to show you at the time I took these videos here, what was actually happening with the magnetopause. Check this out. This was just yesterday. Now, if you guys are not on Facebook, can't help you with that. Maybe you should open up a Facebook page, get your shit suspended like me once in a while. But our Facebook group is taking off. I think that's one of the main reasons why they suspended my account, because, I don't know about all these other Facebook groups, folks, but, I post credible information as fast as it's happening. And what you're looking at here was the magnetopause, Earth's magnetic field, getting crushed by a very strong solar wind. Well, actually, it was kind of a moderate solar wind. The combination of cosmic rays and the influence of other magnetic fields other than the sun. If you got a better explanation to why this is occurring, you let me know. But you better have evidence. You better have data to back it up. Because I've been studying this for a long, long, long time. Long enough for Facebook to suspend my pages at least 4 to 5 times a year. Yeah. Love me that Red Bull, baby. And for all of you that think I sit there and drink like 4 or 5 of these a day, I only drink 1 a day. That's my vitamin, my 1 a day. So what you see here is the geospace magnetosphere. You can clearly see the disturbance, and these are just still shots that I included in here. Wow. This is a little bit different than the ISWA the ISWA site that everybody shows. This is brand new. NOAA just came out with these models. I think it was last year, early 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I might be. But this shows you, boom, this was, boom, wave after wave, just smashing into the magnetopause. And again, folks, when we take these heavy compressions like this, it takes just a matter of hours, maybe 24 hours, but with a constant flow like that, that's nonstop, that time span just starts to build up. Meaning if we just got hit with one wave, it passed by, went through the Earth, we would see an uptick in seismic activity within 48 hours. But because we've been under the gun, constant flow after flow after flow, compression after compression after compression, that time scale has gone from here to here. Okay, because of the constant impact. So there's no waiting 48 hours for those particles to pass through into the mantle, heat the core up, expand the Earth, push on the tectonic plates, cause slip faults to start to slide. And that's what's occurring out there in Ridgecrest. I'm going to show you some of that. But now, I mean, it's just all stacked up. And this is going to be constant. I wouldn't worry too much about the San Andreas fault right now. What's happening out there in that desert is serious. And the energy from those earthquakes, it's moving northward. I would be a little alarmed for Los Angeles and San Diego if I saw that pattern moving south. But it's moving northward, and I'll show you. Let's get out of here. Before we do all of that, we'll bring up the solar wind model real quick. And this was just from yesterday. Today's model is going to be the same. You can see right here where we had the impact right there on the 8th, right there at the apex. You can see the sun on the model here, Earth right there, top view right here. And you can see that passed right through the Earth. Here's a close-up view of it. Kind of one of those in-your-face views. So that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when a small solar wind stream impacts the Earth. This one actually heated up. Watch it, turn red. Watch it up here, right up here. After it passes the Earth, it heats up. Watch it turn red. Yeah. That's a good thing that didn't hit us as it was intensifying before it hit the Earth, because we would probably definitely have a big rash of earthquakes like today. I mean, like intense earthquakes. So that was the solar wind model for yesterday. I mean, I could pull the one up for today. It's not going to change that much. But there were some really, really bad storms that rolled through Spain and Portugal that were absolutely devastating. And I'm talking flash flooding. And you know, folks, that's one thing you have to watch. Is this flash flooding is super, super dangerous. We're not dealing with the old-fashioned rainstorms. We're now dealing with not buckets of water coming down. I mean, these are like dump trucks full of water just falling out of the sky. And they do serious damage. Let's check this out. I think this is one of them here I have. Now that right there, that was right on the outskirts between Spain and Portugal. This is Spain. They got hammered.
Tienes que hacer un hueco en tu casa porque esto es el cruce del Maño.
This is also Spain. This destroyed this road. I mean, that was a highway, actually. That was a highway. It was. Keyword, was. It destroyed, it ate that highway up in a matter of minutes. You could see the police car on the other end, stopping anybody from traveling down there. It buckled the road, buckled the pavement, and literally it just destroyed it instantly. So these effects that are happening in European countries, South American countries, Asian countries, hey, it happens here too. We've already seen it, and it's going to continue. So just a heads up, these situations, just because this is over in Europe or Spain and Portugal, hey, doesn't mean it can't happen here. It does, and it will. So this was pretty devastating. And a lot of damage, man. A lot of damage over there. I wanted to show you guys this quick clip. This is going to show you how the energy of an earthquake reverberates straight across the earth and straight through it. A lot of you guys hear Dutch talk about this whenever we have substantial heavy-duty earthquakes. He will normally pull up his globe, make it transparent, and then he'll show you how that energy will pass through the earth to the other side, possibly creating another larger earthquake on the other side of the globe, on the other side of the epicenter from where we're viewing the first quake. So this will show you the P waves and the S waves that make up an earthquake on a seismogram. And it does. It just literally reverberates all the way through the earth. When we look at the seismograms, if we have an earthquake in the United States, like we did in Ridgecrest, we looked at the seismograms. They were ringing all the way across the United States and all the way across the world when we looked at international seismograms. So this just gives you a good visual, good for the peace of mind up there, of how earthquake and seismicity works. It's pretty incredible. And this, these reverberation waves, they have no problem traveling through the mantle inside of the earth. They whip right through there, and the whole earth just literally feels these larger quakes. So I wanted to show all of this to you so you have a good idea in your mind of how these larger earthquakes affect the whole planet, just not the area around an epicenter. I did post this on our Facebook group. You guys are free to use any of the information that I post on the Facebook group or the Planet X News organizational page. I update it constantly, hour after hour after hour. I'm usually up at 3:30 in the morning. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm up at 3:30 a.m. and the information starts to pour. You know, and that's probably why Facebook jammed me up like they did, but they only jammed me up for 1 hour, baby. Those snowflakes out there in Menlo Park, they got to get up a hell of a lot earlier to jam me up for good. You may be computer savvy over there in Menlo Park, and you may have state-of-the-art technology, but I've got the want and the will, and you're dealing with a hardcore truther. So it's going to take a hell of a lot more to keep me down. I can tell you that right now. Yes, sirree. So you guys got a pretty good idea about that. What else was there on here I want to show you guys? Nothing right here. Let me break into something else here real quick. What did I want to show you? Where is it? Where is my post? Or did I put that in the articles? Oh, let me find it. Where is it? Damn it. I just had it. Or did I put it in the thumbnails? No, I didn't put it in the thumbnails. Oh, God. What did I do with it? Where, oh, where is it? I've been deleting stuff. Oh, here it is, right in front of my face. Come on. Fire up, computer. So this was my post that really, I guess, started the Facebook crap. I posted this across my network on July 1st. And I said right here, and you could see the timestamp right there, 7:06 a.m., July 1st, 2019, right there at the bottom. July 1st, Earth-facing coronal hole will impact Earth around July 4th through the 5th. This will add to the compressions that we are currently seeing with the Earth's magnetic field. This will definitely lead to an increase in seismic activity in the days that follow, possibly July 7th, 8th, 9th. Okay? This is what started Facebook, I guess, watching what I was doing, these moderators that are attached to me. These snowflakes. And sure enough, I posted this on the 1st of July, and the 4th of July, things started ringing out in California, and then they didn't stop. And that's where we're at today. I posted a lot of other information after this and throughout the 4th and the 5th, and then they hammered me on the 7th. But this just goes to show you right there. I mean, I called it days ahead of time. The date's there. That's the post. And it was everywhere. Twitter had no problem with it, but Facebook did. Why? I don't know. I just don't know. Why? Let me see something else here. Oh, more data. This is a graph for a magnetometer, and this is from the GOES satellite. And very, very early this morning, as I was going through all of my data sets, I noticed, whoa, this huge, massive spike right there. As it states in clear blue letters, huge spike on the magnetometer, as predicted, right there, right before July 9th, today. There's that spike. Now, on this magnetometer, we can see the spike. You can see it. Watch this. Let me see if it's the next one. Here's the next one. That spike, this is from one of the European models. That spike was so huge, that impact was so great to our magnetosphere, our magnetopause, that it went off the chart. That's it. That's the whole chart right there. You could see the red line. It goes up and it peaked, but this graph doesn't go that high. Why? Because we haven't seen things like this. Now, the GOES 16 satellite's a little more sophisticated, but that magnetometer, off the chart. Right off the chart, literally. Here's another one. This will give you the K indices. That's a little hard to explain, but that starts to deal with geomagnetic storms. This graph is a little. This graph kind of goes upside down. Instead of the spike going upwards, the spike will go downwards. And this was for earlier, way earlier this morning, going into the 8th, into the 9th. You can see massive spike right here, and then it kind of leveled off. But it got us really close to a K5 geomagnetic storm, but it wasn't long lasting. It dissipated very quickly. I'm not too worried about geomagnetic storms because all they really do is produce auroras unless we get way up into the K6, 7, 8. Yeah, then we're going to be burning up satellites and telecommunications, and it'd be lights out. You know, lights out as in, there go the power grids. So that all started to occur. Here is the graph for the planetary K index. This was for July 7th. And I pulled this up because it went all the way through July 9th. Sure enough, here you go. You see right there in the yellow, we were at a K4, moderate. Very moderate. You really start to worry when that K indices get up here near the 6, 7, 8. Forget about it. There won't be anybody on YouTube live streaming if we have the K indices reaching these levels, because there won't be any internet. That's for damn sure. They'll be shutting it down. Oh, this was just the massive crack that formed out in the desert. I had these all lined up for some articles. This was an actual view from a helicopter. Roadways out in the desert area outside of Ridgecrest. That roadway you can see completely displaced. Part of the roadway is here. The other part is over here. So that all shifted pretty violently. There's not too many people moseying around out there in that part of the desert. But wow, could you imagine if you were cruising down that highway and all of a sudden that magnitude 7.1, 7.2 hit? Woo! Yeah, buddy. You'd have been off the road. You could see very large fissure, crack right there. You could see all of the tiny little cracks all through here. Pretty devastating. They'll have to reconstruct that whole roadway. Oh, I forgot to show you guys this. This was the targeted area. Sorry I'm jumping around here. I had this stuff all mixed up. This was the targeted area for that Invest 92. This is the targeted area for the next 5 days. The possibilities: New Orleans, Destin, Florida. That's a pretty big, wide area. So anybody in these coastal areas in the very beginning, they're going to be under the gun for this, I'll just use the word, catastrophic flooding, heavy duty downpours, man. And they don't have very good drainage to begin with. Here are two geologists that were actually out. They were surveying the damage of that very large fissure that stretched across the desert. And as you can see, I mean, there's not just one. You have this large one right here. It keeps on going. And over here you have another one that just keeps on going all the way up. So the desert definitely took a pounding. It's a good thing that there isn't more residential cities and towns out this way. And I'll tell you what, as much damage as occurred in Ridgecrest, they are very lucky that that epicenter wasn't closer to the town of Ridgecrest, because they would have had catastrophic damage, because it blew gas lines. And those gas lines, when they break suddenly like that, they explode. And we saw the fires already. And if any of you guys remember the Northridge earthquake in California and San Francisco, one of the biggest problems they had were gas lines popping, cracking, breaking, and exploding. And those gas fires are not that easy to control, especially if you can't get to the main shutoffs. So they dodged a bullet, but I don't think they're really that far out of the woods just yet. I hope they are, but it just doesn't look that way, folks. We could take a quick view. Let's see what's actually happening. This will just give you a quick view of what's going on in real time over there. Now, this is what I was talking about when I said that these earthquakes were now moving northward. And they're moving northward in a very suspicious area to me. I think it's suspicious as far as the location and the geographical area and the lay of the land of these earthquakes. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. And I'll show you guys what I mean. You see this valley right there? Here, I'll pull it up on satellite. See that valley right there? Let's spread this up. Everybody's familiar with Yellowstone, right? You ever wonder why the lay of the land, all of that, you ever wonder why it looks like that? It looks like water flowed through these areas. Parts of Utah, New Mexico, even up here in Idaho, Arizona, Nevada, and then down in here to southeastern California. You ever wonder why that land looks like that? Could it have been part of an eruption at Yellowstone, which was directed downwards that way, spewing millions of tons of hot lava straight through, destroying the ground, devastating the ground, and literally turning that area into desolate desert? One can only speculate. But whenever we start to zoom in here, this area from Bishop all the way down the Ridgecrest right up through there. Right up through there. You see where these earthquakes, they all started down in here. Now they're making their way all the way up here. Let's see the latest one. 50 minutes ago. Only a depth of 1.72 kilometers. Surface quake. You see how these earthquakes are moving this way? It seems like they're moving into that area, and I don't know how that area was created. They're updating their screen right now. So if you look at this area, you can see this. It looks like a huge rift. At some point in time, thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, who knows? But it looks like these earthquakes are following along this area. I don't know if that was at one point in time a mountain range that was connected, and then it literally split apart. But it's very strange in in geology to have something like that that lay of the land occur. Something catastrophic occurred here to create that mountain range to split off from that mountain range. What lies beneath there? What lies deep underground through that area between Bishop and Ridgecrest? So I've been watching very, very closely. And over the last couple of days, I've seen this onward and upward motion of these earthquakes. They're moving upward. So, what's going to happen? We will have to find out. But that's why I was saying I wouldn't worry too much about the San Andreas Fault. San Andreas Fault's way over here, stretching all the way down. All of this activity is east of the San Andreas Fault. Actually, not even that close to the San Andreas. I think I do have a map of that I just picked up. To show you guys that positioning. So here's the San Andreas. Right there. Here's the July 7th, the July 6th, 7.1, right there. There's also another fault that runs across. They call it the Garlock Fault. So these earthquakes were just a little bit north of that Garlock Fault. The seismologists, they don't think that the Garlock Fault had really anything to do with it. I don't know, man. These people that work for the USGS, they're kind of weird. I mean, if you watch their press conferences, man, these people are weird. They're shady, too. They're very shady. Yeah. Very shady. But now we see these earthquakes moving northward through that little valley. Maybe I'll do some research and I'll see if I can find something on how that valley between those two mountain ranges was formed. But it looks to me like it wasn't formed by water or some damn glacier. To me, that looks like at one point in time that was one mountain range and something occurred and it split open. And what are we seeing? Huge fissures and cracks all the way across that desert. And I'm sure as the time goes on, they will they'll find out a lot more. I want to jump over here real quick, folks. I know I'm probably boring all of you to death. I'm going to jump over here to the Planet X News website. And, you guys should bookmark. Oops, I'm in the wrong area. You guys should bookmark the website I'm going to show you why. Just not because I want you to come here. But on the Planet X News website, if you pan down, all of my research links, all of them are all right here. There's a whole list from weather related to solar, everything. Yellowstone, the ionosphere, moon phases if you're interested. Excuse me. Near Earth objects, asteroids, meteors. HelioViewer, SETI, National Weather Service. I detailed this very, very precisely because I wanted to be able to give all of you an instant tool that you can go to one website and have all of the instruments, all of the tools, all of the data right at your fingertips. I designed this website, built it so it's mobile friendly. So whether you're on your cell phone or your computer, your tablet, whatever, it all works perfectly fine. So all of your truther links are right there. Click on them, bingo, go at it. I've written a bunch of articles over the last couple of days, detailing, getting reports in from what's happening out there in California. This is the last article I wrote earlier today. Southern California on high earthquake alert, bringing anxiety and preparation. I've gotten a shitload of emails from people all through this surrounding area. I didn't realize that I had so many followers out there in Southern California. But they are scared to death. Anxiety levels are very, very high. There's a large number of people that do not want to sleep in their houses or apartments. They are sleeping outside in tents. I've seen a whole bunch of cell phone videos from people running out of stores, running out of restaurants, running out of their houses. Wow. Watched a video where two people were in the kitchen. They were cooking. They had food in the oven, and the whole house started shaking, and the wife started videotaping, and the husband standing there, la-di-da, he's shaking back and forth like this. And the first thing, the smart woman, ladies, very, very smart, the lady says, turn that damn gas oven off. And the husband's sitting there, oh. But here was a very interesting article that just happened not too long ago. And I don't know if any of you guys heard about this. I published the article in our Facebook group and all over. And this was a very unusual fault in Minnesota, Granite Falls, Minnesota. It affected Highway 67 out of nowhere in Minnesota. It's split. Look at that. That's a construction worker standing there. Look at that road. No earthquake. No earthquake. There are faults up there in that Minnesota area, throughout that whole area. Somehow the fault shifted and it cracked this road wide open. And this was back, I believe, in June. And I was just getting some updates on it from the Minnesota Department of Transportation. And here's another portion of it. It's a good view of the person's feet. It shows you how much of a step down it was. And then this shows, you hear Dutch talk about the North American craton all the time. And, Minnesota's about right up in this area, and there are a bunch of faults up there. And apparently that fault, something went down inside of the earth, and it created that right there, baby. You see how thick that asphalt is? I would say that's got to be 28 inches, maybe 24 inches of solid asphalt. and then some more smaller, thinner layers probably from the past. Wow. It literally cracked and separated that. And I believe that highway is still out of commission. Parts of it. But again, folks, I share all of this on our Facebook group and my personal Facebook pages and on Twitter. And, whenever you open up these links and you read the article, all you got to do is click right there, share on Facebook, click right there, and tweet it. And there you go. All too many times when I share the articles on social media, people just read the thumbnail. They don't open up the article. But that doesn't make too much sense. The articles aren't real long, but it's all pertinent information. So if you want to be a hardcore truther and you want to learn, then you have to read. That's the best advice that I could give you guys. Start reading the articles, start absorbing the information, and take it all in and share it. That way others can do the same. But when I post the articles, they're not just there to just look at the thumbnail. They're meant for you to click on it, open it, read the article, and absorb it. I did an update for the tropical storm that is forming in the Gulf of Mexico. I put all of that information up there. I did an article a couple days ago about this flesh-eating bacteria throughout the oceans. It's everywhere. People are dying from it. It is absolutely horrible. We've seen an uptick in this since last year. It's absolutely horrible. I'm not even going to pull that article up on this live stream because there are some pretty graphic photographs in it. So the link for our website is in the description box under the video. planetxnews.org, O-R-G, not .com. Now, I want to finish this live stream and I just want to show all of you how dangerous the truth community has actually become. I get death threats. I get them all the time. Dr. Albers gets them too. They used to worry her. They don't worry her anymore. I get people that inbox me threats, email me threats. They're all pretty stupid. Until you knock at my door, I won't take you seriously. I pretty much just sit back and laugh at you. But the truth community has been under fire for a long time. Holistic doctors, dead. Scientists wanting to disclose truth, dead. Yeah. Dead. Who knows? Maybe somebody will try to take me out. Whatever. But the truth will go on. And a very prominent social media truther, Joe Hagman, and his father, Doug, the Hagman Report, there's a very high possibility that Joe was murdered. I've watched Doug and Joe on their YouTube channel Report. They do a professional job for years. They are Christians. They are very righteous people. Doug Hagman, the father, was a very prominent police officer. detective, criminal investigator for a long, long time. He retired. Him and his son put this media company together. They have a nice studio set up. They do a professional job. They do reporting and real journalism. And they break things open, man. They've pissed a lot of people off over the last several years. But the people that they were pissing off, they needed to be exposed. Just like I try to expose all of these things that are going on, and also in the same aspect trying to teach so people can learn. And then they can teach and help others. So it's a very dangerous job. It's not a goddamn hobby. I consider this a job. A passion. You know, some of you may not think that highly of me. That's your opinion. But I can tell you this much. When the chips are down, you're going to want somebody like me on your side. That's a fact. But Joe was possibly murdered. He was found dead of a possible heroin overdose. Joe never showed any signs of drug usage, alcohol usage, wasn't a partier, grew up with a strict Christian family. Like I said, his father was a prime-time police officer, later detective. Doug Hagman, Sr., he's got contacts in high places. FBI, CIA, NSA, police departments around the United States. Most of all are retired. Friends of his. So Joe was found unresponsive. He was deceased. And the report came back that he died of an overdose of heroin. Totally out of character. Joe was 36 years old with a family and a baby on the way. In this video, this was Senior. This was Doug announcing that his son had passed away. The Hagman report would continue to go on with production on YouTube and their radio show and their website, the whole 9 yards. They would continue with their investigative journalism, uncovering the truth. But he said, there is ample evidence that Joe was murdered. Using the heroin overdose as a cover-up. And when Doug Hagman says that he has the evidence and he's coming for you, your days are numbered. Now, Doug Hagman is a Christian man. I'm not saying he's going to go out there headhunting to get even, but he will bring these individuals to justice. I think this is a video. The video of Doug's statement is right here. I posted this article a couple days ago. I've watched Doug and Joe for years on YouTube. They do a 2-hour live stream. Very, very professional. But somebody, or maybe it was a small group, who knows? Who knows right now? But somebody wanted to silence this man. They also wanted to tarnish his image with the heroin overdose, making it look like he was a junkie. This man was anything but that. This isn't the first time, folks, that this technique has been used. You see it a lot in the music industry and the movie industry. Musician dies of drug overdose. Really? That musician just happened to go against the grain with the big record company producers. He was tired of them stealing his money, so he said something. The situation just happened with Taylor Swift. Some record producer guy just bought all of her masters to all of her music for $300 million. She's pissed off. Why is she pissed off? Because she knew who the guy was, this record producer, and when they do that, they own you. You don't make all the money as the musician and the writer of the music. Somebody else makes all the money. The people behind the scenes pushing the buttons. They make 75%, if not 80% or 90% of the money. Now this guy owns Taylor Swift's music, all of it. $300 million. He wants to control her. We've seen musicians fall from grace and disappear. But who really knows what happens to them? If you notice, they all normally die of a drug overdose. Same thing with actors. Prominent people. Oh, they died of an overdose. They died of an overdose. Well, Joe wasn't a musician. Joe and his father, hardcore truthers. And they've turned the heat up over the last year and a half. Oh, they've really turned the heat up on a whole variety of subjects and people. And maybe, just maybe, they turned the heat up on the wrong person who took it a step forward and murdered him and tried to cover it up as a heroin overdose. But Senior has the proof, has the evidence, and from what he states, he knows who you are. He states in the video, I know you're watching this broadcast right now, and I know who you are, and we will be coming for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that this is a dangerous, I don't want to use the word game. When I tell you this is a dangerous job, it is. Truthers have been murdered for thousands of years. For all of you that are very religious, Christians? Who's the biggest truther of all times that they murdered? Yeah, that's right. Jesus Christ. Martyrs around the world. Leonardo da Vinci. They didn't murder him, but they made him shut his mouth. It's been going on for thousands of years. And here we are, still, in modern times. People aren't able to handle the truth. There's always going to be good, and there's always going to be evil. What side are you on? You want to be a team player, or you want to be a scumbag? We only have one Earth. We only have one place right now, as far as I know, in this solar system that we live on. We could go into all the other conspiracies about, living on Mars and living on the moon. But let's deal with reality. This is where we all live right now. Somebody killed that man. They gave him a hot shot. You all know what fentanyl is. You all know about all of the overdose crazes around the United States and all over the world with heroin. Yeah. I pity the individual if Senior gets his hands on these people. Because I don't think it was just one person. Joe was a pretty tough guy. Smart. Street smart. His father was a prime-time cop, detective, security. He grew up in that household. He was street smart. So it would definitely take more than one person to hold him down and inject him with a hot shot of some bad shit, as those junkies say on the street. No wonder the President of the United States of this country, who some of you may not like, trying to shut the border down. Why? Because they're bringing boatloads of hardcore drugs, fentanyl, that kills people. Since 2014, I buried 13 friends from that shit. This guy didn't deserve to die. Somebody murdered him. Somebody killed him. And on top of all of that, just the other day, Dutch Sense puts up a post on his Facebook page saying that somebody tried to swat him and his family, him and his wife. They could have been killed. In 2018, June 1st, I got a knock at the door. My house was surrounded by local police officers with AR-15s, handguns, and 2 FBI agents. Yeah. Chris Potter tried to swat me and Dr. Albers. He tried to have me and Dr. Albers killed. He failed. And Potter, I hope you're listening to me right now. Don't think that I didn't watch that piece of shit interview with you and that scumbag debunker, Mick West. Mick, you're a sorry piece of trash. And Chris Potter, your day will come. You're going to cross the wrong person at the right time. Won't be me. But you ever cross that line and you try to breach the security, my security, or Dr. Albers' security, I will see to it that you do meet me face to face, and I will do it the right way, because I'll be standing there as they place you in handcuffs. See, boy, you're not jail material. You wouldn't survive 1 hour in a county jail, because they would have your ass, literally. Better watch your step, boy. That's all I gotta say. Watch your step. Keep my mouth, or keep my name out of your mouth. Keep Dr. Albers' name out of your mouth. Go about your business. And that goes for the rest of any of you troll babies that want to come after me or come at me in any way. Give it your best shot. You've been trying to do it for the last 3.5 years, and you failed miserably. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not dealing with, some sensationalized YouTube videos anymore. For all the people out there that sensationalize everything that's happening with the world just because they want a following and they want to be some damn rock star on social media, those are the people that you should unfollow, unsubscribe. Question everything, always. Because if you don't, you'll just become one of their pawns. Learn to read between the lines, and you'll see there's a lot of fake people out there on social media. There's a lot of fake YouTubers. And there are people that disguise themselves as a truther, but they're not. They're like the devil. They will feed you junk, feed you more and more junk, to the point where your mind is clouded and you don't know what is real and what is not. Your awakening needs to happen very soon. And just because you think that you're awakened doesn't mean that you really are. Because I read a lot of all of your posts. Everybody that follows me on social media and YouTube. I read the stuff that you post. I see it. And I'm going to be quite frank. There's a lot of you that are out there, man. You don't have a clue. You know why? Because you're following all of the other narratives that are out there. You have your brain spread out so far that you can't comprehend what is the truth and what is not. I don't know how to help you with that. Because I can sit here all day long and I can rip other people apart by calling these people liars and showing you how they lie. And I could show you their deceit. But what do some of you do? You get mad at me when I call somebody else out. I'm not calling them out for my sake, folks, because I already know they're liars. I'm calling them out for your sake. That's the way that you should take it. And there's a lot of charlatans out there on the internet and social media with all of their fake news and their sensationalist posts and videos. And if you actually made one of them sit down and explain some of this to you, they wouldn't be able to do it, because they're nothing more than copy and paste pirates. You'll see. The time will come. I think each and every one of you should listen to Mr. Hagman speak of his son. Watch the video. It's, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes long, if that. I will, I'll leave the link. I'll put it in the live chat. And I will also post it in the comment section under this video. And just to show you how screwed up people are, after Joe's death was exposed, scumbags, pure scumbags, went out there and started GoFundMe accounts. Fake. Just to make money off of this poor man's death. Mr. Hagman talks about it in that video. I think if each and every one of you watching this live stream right now takes the time out of your busy schedule on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and watch a real man hold it together on a live broadcast announcing the death of his son. That's a man who has a backbone. Sooner or later, all of us are going to have to grow one, whether you think you have one now or not. Now I'm upset. I'll leave the link to this article in the live chat in the comments section. I will also repost it in the in our Facebook group. You want to learn? Join our Facebook group today. Mind your manners. Don't insult people. And do me a favor. Don't post any information from Steve Olson, Gil Broussard, Marshall Masters, or anybody else that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Because if you do, I'm not trying to censor you, but I don't need you clouding everybody else's mind with those charlatans on social media. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Be safe out there, folks, and remember to watch your weather very, very closely in this week to come, especially in the Gulf of Mexico region. Take care, folks. Good night. Be safe.